Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm here to invite you to help us alpha test the Cybersecurity Concept Assessment, or CCA, which is part of the Cybersecurity Assessment Tools, or CATS project, from the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, the University of Illinois, and the University of Minnesota Duluth. This project is supported in part by the National Science Foundation under the SFS Capacity Grant listed below. So what's the CCA? Well, the Cybersecurity Concept Assessment is a concept test for graduates or near graduates of a 2 or 4 year cybersecurity program or equivalent. There are 25 questions in the CCA and 6 more in an auxiliary section. Each multiple choice question has a scenario and a stem followed by 5 alternatives. Your task is always to choose the alternative that best answers the question. The CCA is not meant to be about specific technical knowledge. So for example, it's not going to cover how well you understand all the peculiarities of buffer overflow attacks, but rather it's a test of general abilities that are critical for security reasoning and practice. As you take this test as part of the alpha testing process, you can leave a rating and feedback for each question. We'll talk about this more later. That rating will disappear, but don't worry, it will be logged. Your help will lead to improvements to the CCA and to cybersecurity education. So to do this, you're going to use a site called PrairieLearn from the University of Illinois. And to get there, you go to the URL at the bottom, prairielearn.engr.illinois.edu, and use a Google or Microsoft account to sign in. This doesn't require any extra privileges. It's just a way of assigning an identifier to your answers, which of course we will treat as confidential. Once you sign in, if you've never signed into PrairieLearn before, you will not have any courses added. To add some, you're going to click on the Add Remove Courses button, and a number of publicly available courses will show up. The one that you'll be using is the Cybersecurity Assessment Tools Spring 2019, so you can click on the Add Course button, and then it will show as a possibility for removal to indicate that you've actually added it. Then click on the word PrairieLearn to sort of go home, and then you'll see that you have this course added. You can click on the course here. That will take you to some of the assessments that are part of that course, and what we're specifically interested in here is CCA 1, the CCA Cybersecurity College Graduate course, and then later you can also take the 6 auxiliary questions if you'd like. Once you click on that, you'll see the questions for the assessment, and the first is exam instructions and our consent form, and following that is a short demographic survey, and then the rest of the tests are the actual questions. Let's see what those questions look like. So a question is going to have a scenario. Here the scenario is not visible, and a number of alternatives. So alternative being the different choices you can make. And your job is to think about the scenario and the alternatives that are provided and choose what you think is the best answer that's provided there. Now in many cases this isn't going to be the ideal answer or the perfect answer, but the task here is to choose the best one that's present. After you choose, you can review the question, so anywhere from accept to reject, and provide comments below if you like. After you review the question, you can click Save and Grade to see the answer, or just Save to save your response and move on. Click on Next Question to go to the next question, and then work your way through the entire test. The most helpful thing for us is if you can take all the questions, because then that allows us to analyze the results and see if some questions are too hard or too easy, or if some questions have alternatives that no one picks, and so on and so forth. After you take those 25 questions, if you're willing, you could also take the CCI auxiliary questions, which are listed below. Again, those are just 6 more questions of the same character. So let's do a little live demo so you can see what this looks like in action. So you want to go to prairielearn.engr.illinois.edu, and So let's see a live demonstration. You want to go to prairielearn.engr.illinois.edu and you'll sign in with an account. I'll use a Google account. And as this is the first time I've signed in, I don't have any courses. So I click on Add Remove Courses. And then I want to click on Cybersecurity Assessment Tools Spring 2019. So I'll click Add Course and I confirm the addition. Okay, now I click on PrairieLearn and now I have this course added. So I can click on the course, and then what we're really interested in here is the Cybersecurity College Graduate. Click on that, you'll see all the items, and then you'll want to start with the exam instructions. So here are the exam instructions. These are basic instructions similar to what I've already provided earlier in the video. The main idea here is that we'd like you to choose the correct answer from the best option here that's available, and then leave a review to the question. For example, if I said, oh well, I like this question, I'm going to accept it with minor revisions, but I'll put minor comment here. Okay. Now for the instruction page only, of course we have our informed consent and information about our IRB approval if you're curious about that. Now before we move on, I want to show you something. I've checked my rating here and I've added a comment, but when I'm done I want to click Save or Save and Grade. I'll click Save and you'll see that the comment disappeared. Don't worry, it has actually been saved. So for each of the questions, please rate it, and if you have comments you can add the comments below. When you're done with a question, you can click on Next Question. And the second question on the CCA is a short demographic survey to help us understand your context. And then when you click Next Question from here, it will take you on to the actual questions in the inventory. Now, if you'd like to, if you take all the questions in the inventory and you'd like to help us by taking the auxiliary questions, you can click on PrairieLearn, Assessment Tools, and then auxiliary questions. And like we said, there are 6 more questions here of the same character. So thank you very, very much for being willing to take the CCA and give us feedback. If you have any questions or you want to help, please feel free to email Sherman at umbc.edu. Thank you so much.